Today, other interesting business news. This is not so great. Palo Alto Networks their stock dropped 28.64% in a single day last week, the worst drop ever since their IPO back in, I believe, 2012. Now, most people know Palo Alto. Well, most consumers really don't know Palo Alto Networks, except maybe they sponsor an F1 team or some fancy thing like that. Now, they're going to debate to the end of time that they are a software company, they're a cybersecurity company. They are, but a lot of people know them for their bread and butter, aka their core product that they've built and that they are kind of best known for, which would be the firewall. And they are the most expensive, also the most premium, and they have more bells and whistles and features than a Porsche, debatably. I mean, if you want the technology with Palo Alto Networks, add a line item, and that's going to be on there, and you will be charged subsequently, but you'll have that additional technology, not to dive too deep into the weeds. Now, there's a couple of reasons I think this stock is going down. One, there appears to be some people speculating that there's a little bit of a tech flaw with the company, but it is also just having a decrease in sales. And again, this is a premium product, and a lot of businesses, and anecdotally speaking, I own a tech company. We are a reseller and services company for Palo Alto Networks, as well as our competitors like Fortinet and Cisco. Now, Palo Alto Networks, a lot of people will give them credit. I mean, Check Point will probably get the crown for debatably being, inventing the next NGF, the next generation firewall. Now, Palo, again, they're a premium product. They cost the most. The renewals are pretty hefty, but it is great tech. However, the trend that, and again, this is anecdotal evidence of most of our businesses within the great country, or some might say a state, of Texas, and we're seeing a lot of clients actually shifting and moving over to more, I would say, value-based or price competitive. There's a nice way of saying you're not the most expensive option, but a lot of people are starting to shift over to things like Fortinet, which, again, Fortinet is growing rapidly, especially SMB or small medium business, as well as mid-market, which is basically, think of all the companies from small law offices all the way up to a couple of maybe the Fortune 1000s. And then with the commercial accounts, that's usually designated something like the Fortune 500 accounts. Think Toyota, PepsiCo, and all those such companies. Now, another issue with Palo is they say that they are citing weaknesses with the U.S. government base, aka that's also one of the biggest clients as well. Because again, when you're working in the defense industry, and especially if you're part of the U.S. government, you do need best breed of technology because again, the whole world wants the tech they have, especially in the Defense Department and all that, especially that segment of the government. And that's one of the citations that they're saying as well. We're seeing some weakened sales because, again, a lot of governments they're starting to taper some of their spending that they would otherwise noted. Now, they also noted that their sales are a little bit precarious. They also note that, quote, let's see, U.S. government agencies have been working to boost their protective measurements after 2021 order, but a major federal contract, quote, didn't materialize at the pace at the spending levels we had expected during the quarter. This is according to Nitish Arora, Palo Alto Networks CEO. And it's funny, they actually, maybe it's rebranded, but sometimes they're starting to shorten the vernacular. Because again, the company's called Palo Alto Networks. Obviously, well, good branding is headquartered in Palo Alto, California. Makes sense. But a lot of the statements I've noticed that they're starting to just use Palo Alto. Now, they also note that the company lowered its full-year billings outlook to a range of $10.1 billion to $10.2 billion, down from the original projected $10.7 to $10.8 billion. The revenue guidance moved to a range of $7.95 billion to $8 billion, from $8.15 billion to $8.2 billion. Now, they also note that most of the updated billings forecast is related to the Defense Information Systems Agency's $1.86 billion Thunderdome project to implement a zero-trust architecture. Wells Fargo's analyst Andrew Nowinski and Stefan Schwartz wrote in a note to clients. Which, again, I'm usually pretty bored when it comes to things in the Senate and the House and the government when it comes to naming bills. But every once in a while, I get some cool things like the Thunderdome project. And then a couple years ago, when it comes to the private cloud or the cloud instance that the Department of Defense was doing a bid for, they actually called it. No one remembers that. Well, I don't remember the acronym, what it actually stands for, but the acronym was actually called the Jedi contract, which, again, that's kind of hilarious, and I think a lot of people in tech especially appreciated it. So it'll be interesting to see how Palo is doing. Again, they're facing ever-increasing amount of competition because the competition, their capabilities are growing. I mean, Fortinet, their capabilities for that company has increased more and more, and that we're seeing a lot of businesses also shift to there are kind of two philosophies. You have best of breed, where you have, every stack of tech in your technology, it's going to be the best. And then you also have consolidation, where you're going to have one company do many things, which is what Cisco and Fortinet are probably most famous for, where Fortinet, not only do they have your firewalls, but they also have everything from your phone systems, your Wi-Fi, your switches, aka their networking, as well as a myriad of other ways to protect your cloud, even your email security. So you're seeing a lot of businesses as they're trying, because again, it's not just money when you're consolidating technology, but excuse me, also saving resources, because then you could have fewer specialized employees, and you could just have a couple who can cover a wide range. Like someone like is, again, there's probably a fancy term or certification I don't know about, but like a Cisco expert or a Fortinet expert who can take care of more of the technology stack, as opposed to having a whole team and having many people responsible for many different technologies. So I know they're noting that there's a decrease in government spending, which absolutely that's a contributing factor. But kind of given what I'm seeing at Topping Technologies, those are some of the things that we've been kind of seeing in terms of anecdotal experience. And again, they're pushing hard to try to grow their company, but one of the worst things you can do is lower your outlook. You have the sales decrease, and I don't know. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of people saying that the company was overvalued for quite a while, because again, the growth rate for their stock was astronomical. And unlike, well, Nvidia isn't a competitor because they don't make, they make different products, but they're both tech companies. But like Nvidia, they have the sales to support their astronomical, and they also have a huge adoption rate. There's not as much competition in that regard. Palo, there's a lot of competition. And again, engineers and some sales reps will argue to their red in the face, saying that their widgets are a little bit shinier. And truth be told, there are some things they do better than competition. Just like the competition, there's some things they do better at. As a wise man by the name of Thomas Sowell once said, there's no such thing as solutions, only trade-offs. So I think it's going to be a rough year for Palo Alto Networks, as much as I don't want that to be the case, because they have some great people working there and it is great technology. But one of the biggest issues with 2024 for businesses, economic uncertainty, political uncertainty, global economy uncertainty. And again, when there's so much uncertainty in the market, most businesses start to decrease their spend, because kind of a ripple effect, a lot of consumers decrease their spend as well, because people are just worried. They have no idea if they're going to, maybe their industry, their job might be regulated out of existence. Maybe the demand for the product will fall off a cliff, because maybe it's a product that's not a necessity, so it's something that's easy for families to cut from their budget. So it'll be interesting to see. I guess I should say I'm just not too surprised that the stock has dropped so much because of the news that they were putting out. But it'll be interesting to see how this year is for Palo Alto Networks. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a comment, thumbs up, thumbs down is a great way to give me some additional feedback so I can learn how to make the show better and better. Also, sharing with a friend, great way to assist as well. And specifically, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.